Chapter 5. The Trouble with the S Word. Not being able to talk in school is a terrible problem, but having a girl desk buddy is even worse. It is the kiss of death. At recess I heard, Alvin and Flea sitting in a tree, Kissing. First comes love, then comes marriage, then comes Alvin with a baby carriage. Oh, it really fried my rice. But the real problem with having a girl desk buddy is that she will follow you home no matter how hard you try to ditch her. And it's hard to ditch her when the bus stops at the end of your driveway and nearly everyone gets off and your house is right there and the whole gang can see that it's a girl going up your driveway. "Hi, Mrs. Ho," called Flea as soon as we reached the top. "Hello, Sophie," said my mom, smiling and using Flea's real name. "It's very nice to see you." Mouths dropped open at the bottom of the driveway. Pinky, Jules, Sam, Nia, Eli, Scooter, and Hobson, the whole gang, stood speechless. "It's nice to see you, too," said Flea, blinking her one good eye at my mom. If there's anything good about Flea, it's this. She wears an eye patch over one eye, like a pirate. Also, one of her legs is longer than the other, like a peg leg, which is also marvelous. "I'm Alvin's desk buddy again this year." "That's wonderful," said my mom, smiling even more and holding the door open. "Alvin is very lucky." "Yep," said Flea. "He's very lucky." "Would you like to come in for afternoon tea and rice crackers?" I narrowed my eyes at Flea, which meant she had better say no and go away. And my mom narrowed her eyes at me, which meant I had better behave like a gentleman or I had something coming. "I'd love to," said Flea, and she stepped right inside my house and then sat right down at my place in the kitchen across from Annabelle. Worse, Lucy came home and gave her the kiss that she usually gives to me. "It's a terrible problem not being able to talk at school," Flea said right off, "so having a right desk buddy makes a real difference." My mom nodded. She had that look on her face that said she thought Flea was a darling girl. "It's a big responsibility," said Flea, "so I'm even more prepared this year than last year." "You have a PDK?" asked Annabelle. "No," said Flea, "but I made this." She reached into her backpack and pulled out a book. "The book on Alvin," it said on the cover. "I wrote the book on Alvin," said Flea. Then Flea proudly opened her book. Page 1. "Alvin can talk with his eyes," Flea read, loud and clear. Page 2. There's a drawing of 2 eyes and my 2 eyes. "These eyes means he's thinking," I read. Flea nodded. She turned the page. Page 3. There's a drawing of 2 more of my eyes. These eyes mean he's okay," read Flea. Page 4. A pair of anxious eyes. "These eyes means he has to go pee," exclaimed Annabelle without reading. "Hey," I said. Page 5. A pair of big round eyes. "And these eyes means he has bingo," read Flea. "What a great book," said my mom, with that smile on her face that said she thought Flea was a very clever girl, and I had still better be a gentleman or else. "You are very observant," my mom added. Flea beamed. "Thank you," she said. "People think Alvin's uncommunicative, but he's really not." "Alvin should be proud to have a friend like you," said my mom. She was so pleased that she brought out a special 2,000-year-old dragon's beard candy in a box and offered it to Flea first. As if that weren't enough, Flea asked for chopsticks. And then she slurped her tea like she really meant it and pinched a dragon's beard candy between her chopsticks and popped it right into her mouth. She even chewed with her mouth closed the whole time. "I saw dragon's beard candy on a cooking show once," said Flea, dabbing her lips with a napkin. "It's made of 8,000 strands of sugar wrapped around nuts and coconut and sesame seeds." My mom beamed. "I'm taking aggression for girls," Flea went on. "It's a combination of kickboxing, karate, and it's supposed to make me stronger. And I got a goldfish this summer. His name's Boatswain. He watches action movies and swims around, only during commercials." She smiled and reached for another piece of dragon's beard. I could hardly stand it. "I think it's a stupid book," I blurted, "and you're a stupid girl." Flea gasped. She clasped the book of Alvin to her chest. Her mouth fell open, and some beard strands fell out. "Alvin Ho," said my mom, "you apologize right now." I hung my head. I had used the S word. I crossed my chopsticks this way, Then I crossed my chopsticks. That way, my mom was giving me that look, which meant that I had better apologize or she would make Dragon's beard out of me. Yoctoseconds turned into zeptoseconds, turned into attoseconds, turned into a blink of an eye, then in a heartbeat. Then my life crawled before my eyes. Sorry, I finally peeped. Tears filled Flea's eye. It was not a good sign. I had a terrible feeling that a gentleman would never make a girl cry, even a girl with only one eye. Flea slipped the book on Alvin into her backpack and without a word headed out the door. I was so relieved and happy to see her go, I felt like dancing. If I had danced, the new look on my mom's face said she would have broken my legs. So I dashed out after Flea. I had a feeling it was the gentleman thing to do, but I didn't really know. I couldn't remember. Hey, I huffed when I caught up with her, but Flea did not stop. She moves rather fast for someone who can only see half of everything and walks on uneven legs. Stop, I said. Flea stopped. She blinked her eye. She crossed her arms. And I breathed in and I breathed out. I did not feel so good. I was on the sidewalk in broad daylight with a girl. Okay, I said. Okay, what? Said Flea. Okay, I'm going to mean it this time, I said. Flea waited. I waited. A car rolled by. I leaned over to see what was in the gutter. Nothing. Then I looked up to see if there might be any giant meteorites heading for Flea. None. So finally I blurted, I'm sorry that it's a weird book and you're a weird girl. Pow! I think it was an uppercut. I'd seen it on Saturday afternoon boxing with my popo. An uppercut is when you curl your arm like you're picking up a pail of rocks and you send your fist into your opponent's jaw from the bottom up. I lifted off my feet and landed on my butt. Ow! I felt like crying. So I did. Just as I was about to duke it back to Flea, a police car rolled by. Everyone knows that a police car is much more interesting than punching a girl. It's a good thing that a police car rolled by because I come from a long line of former warriors in China who have been duking it out since 714 AD, and it looked like Flea had taken lessons or something and knew what she was doing, so we would have battled to the death for sure. And it's hard to say how scary that would have been.